This presentation outlines how to use the master option within Google Slides in order to create a template that students could fill out but not change. So it's really kind of the background to the page. So what I'm going to demonstrate really is this option to go up to view and manipulate the master slide so that you can add an image or text or change up the style in order to create something that's uniform and doesn't change, and that students really cannot edit when they go to complete an assignment that you might have, such as an interactive notebook. So I'm going to do this by actually looking at kind of a blank document. So starting from scratch, if you were to just simply create, a couple of slides, you have your title slide, and then you have your slide with the text that you might want to have them fill out. So for instance, if they're collecting quotes from a text and they have some thoughts and reactions, and you want to do this kind of over and over again with the text, the first step you would do once you create this slide is to go up to File, click on download, and download this as either a JPEG or a PNG. So either one would work just fine. So now I've created an image out of my slide, as you can see here. And I'm going to go now up to view, and I'll go to master view. Now, master view allows me to do many things, such as change fonts, put a specific image on the slides, change up the style of the slides, etc. So what I want to do is go to one of my first slides that really is a slide that matches my number 2 slide. So this is where it's kind of all of my worksheet slides, I guess I would have them be. So I'm going to delete the text here, and I'm actually going to delete this up here as well. And I'm going to insert that image that I just downloaded. So image, upload from computer, and then I'm going to do the master slide image here. So now that is going to be at the back of my slide. That will be one of my templates. And I do want students to be able to type over this. So I am going to insert a text box. So I'm going to put a text box here for them. And I will put another text box here. Whoops. All right, text box. So another one right here. And then, of course, I'm going to want a text box, 2 more. So one right here. And then I will just duplicate that, copy and paste it. And I'm going to have to move it. Okay, so now I have essentially, all right, a text box where I want students to type, and I have my template on the background. And again, that was going into the view and the master. I'm going to click off master now to go back to my actual slides. And as you can see, the third one looks great. The second one, I'm going to have to actually move the back part of it. I might even actually delete the second one just because that was sort of my working one. But now, as you can see, if I go duplicate, so I'm going to go edit duplicate slide, it will create that exact template on every single slide that I'm kind of duplicating from this one, because that's my master text. And what students now are going to be able to do, they can't change anything here because this was an image that I had stuck on here and it's stuck on the master slides, but they are going to be able to use it to fill in information. And one thing I am noticing is, for some reason, those text boxes aren't showing up here. So you may have to go in again on that first slide and add some of those text boxes. And then from there, students can just fill out their worksheets. So they would essentially be able to go into that slide and type in the text box that you had left there for them. And so that, again, would be the one that you would want to probably duplicate. Now, going back to the demonstration one, a couple extra features here. So this, again, is exactly, I added a text box on each one of these so they can add in their page numbers, they can add in their thoughts, etc. I also added an extra text box, which I pulled over next to the slides. So students have found sometimes that directions on the side of a slideshow kind of saves them that space and it's easier for them to keep track of. So again, that was just simply creating a text box here. So adding the text box, and then I simply just pulled it over to the side of the slideshow, which allowed me to add some directions and information. Another thing was creating, you could either do a text box and fill that in or do a shape. And I did that with each of these tabs and then went and internally linked them to a slide in the presentation. So for instance, I want the red there to go to the plot summary. And maybe I'm going to get really fancy and go to the plot summary one and even fill this in as kind of a red background to match it. But whoops, and usually that doesn't show up like that. But what you need to do is actually, rather than selecting the text, you want to make sure that it's the object that is selected. And then you can add, okay, so let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, good. So that one didn't show up as that hyperlink, but it does show you that the object, the square, is linked to slide 2. So when it's in present mode, if you were to click on it, students would go immediately to that slide 2, and they'd be able to kind of look at what they're keeping track of within a text. So again, just kind of a fun way if you have, let's say, vocabulary and different categories that you want students to keep track of when they're reading or when they're taking notes. Maybe this is a way to do some focus notes in an electronic way. This is just another option for you, again, in using those master slides, just in a very basic way. I just added an image template to that background and then went back to the slide and added in those text boxes so that students could just literally type right there and add in their answers as they're going along. So hope that sparks at least some creativity. This one's kind of a boring one, but I will provide the template to it as well as the video, obviously, just to maybe get you started or get students started with collecting some of this stuff and organizing it in a new way.